Welcome back to Where Potters Walk. Is Johansson the best goalkeeper in the league? Forget the championship. Is he one of the best goalkeepers that's going to be in the Champions League in the future? We'll get that viewpoint across to Adam. Plus, we're looking at the best and the worst of your tweets following the win in Sheffield this week and table-topping Stoke City. We haven't said that in a long time, Adam, have we? Welcome back. We're also talking about the summer farewells. Which players did we lose at Stoke in the summer that we perhaps could have done more to keep hold of? Have the club done well in offloading some of the surplus? And the Premier League is back this weekend, but do we care? Have we fallen out of love with the UK's top league? Plus, is the new home kit one of your favourites? It has divided opinion, it's fair to say, at the Stoke fan base. We'll get Adam's view and your view, hopefully, on that in a short while. But welcome back. If you're new to the channel, thank you very much for joining us. It's 30 minutes of Stoke City chat with a variety of different guests. Delighted to have Adam back with us. No longer a suffering Stokey. Before we get into the superlatives of what was a great performance, and it has been for Stoke, with 3 wins now back to back in a week, including the League Cup, let's just put this one out there. Dave says, just to calm everyone down, steady on everyone, we are going to have to play better teams than Derby and Sheffield Wednesday this season. Having said that, it is lovely to watch. And there's loads of others saying, Adam, let's not get carried away. No, it's calmed down, but come on, let's just get carried away. Stoke have been poor to watch.
Yeah, it's difficult not to get carried away, isn't it, with the start that we've had, given those 7, 8 years of really demoralising, just nothing performances for that whole time. There's been, fits and spurts here and there, but nothing like the football we've seen in these two. I'm not going to include the League Cup game because it wasn't a great performance, to be honest. We scraped through on penalties, but the 2 league games are probably the 2 best performances since we've been relegated. We're looking really good, but I will also take that, massive pinch of salt. I do think the 2 teams we've played will be at the bottom end of the table come May, so we shall see.
Yeah, we'll take nothing away from Stoke, though. We've got to focus on one player, as we said right from the start, Super Johansson in goal. James says, there's no way he doesn't make it to the very top. Champions League keeper. He's the best keeper I've seen at Stoke since watching Prime Begovic, Sorensen and Butland. And he says, you'll be missed when he shines for season in the World Cup this summer. Enter Simkin. Let's not get that far ahead of ourselves, though. First of all, let's establish, is he the best goalkeeper in the Championship?
Well, without a doubt, for me. I think if you look at the stats at the end of last season, him and Trafford were head and shoulders above everybody else in the league. And my view of that, of when you see the amount of shots against that he has to put up with compared to what Trafford had, winning the league in that Burnley team, that's the big difference for me. And when there was talk of him potentially going, I think it was Fabrizio Ramazino, whatever his name is, he put on that, he was ready to leave, and people were quoting 5-6 million when we've just seen Trafford leave back to Man City for 35-40 million. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, even from Stoke fans, underrating the value of him. He'll go to the very top, but at the same time, he seems settled. He's dismissed all talk. He said right at the end of last season that he'd settled. He'd had a young kid. He wanted to stay in Stoke, and he's kept by his word. So all the best. Hopefully we keep on to him all this season, and like you say, he'll probably shine in the World Cup next year, and that might be the kickstart for him to get that move, unless, of course, we carry on in this form, in which, fingers crossed, he'll be in the best league in the world with us. So you never know.
Yeah, Champions League with Stoke, maybe. I remember talking to when Rotherham were here a couple of years ago, and obviously he was a keeper with them, and the fan genuinely said this, and he wasn't being facetious or anything. He said, look, without Johansson in goal, we would have been relegated by January 1st. He was that good. He kept us in games we had no right, even still being 0-0 80 minutes. That was simply because of his shot stopping. There was the overhead kick, of course, at Hillsborough, which I've obviously seen the video of, and his reflexes, his vision. How do you train for that? I'm not a goalkeeper, but it's some reflexes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just natural, isn't it? With some keepers, you can clearly see these shot stopping ability. Sheffield Wednesday had 10 minutes all game where they came on, and he did the double save. And then it was a couple of minutes later, it was the bicycle kick from Bannon, which you look at that save and it's 6 yards. It's a bicycle kick where he's made a great connection with it 6 yards out. 9 out of 10 keepers don't make that save.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And, even the Rotherham lads saying it, he kept them from being relegated. He kept us from being relegated last season, hands down. He earned us probably 9 points by himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Right then, let's switch. We can't take all the plaudits because we've got to talk about this fella as well. Yeah, 2 games, 3 assists, 1 goal. Yeah. Are you getting this Silver Thomas top?
He's outstanding player, isn't he? I saw a stat. I think it was yesterday on social media where he's got the most assists in the championship since the 21-22 season. He's obviously spent 18 months out of the league during that time, and he's still got the most assists. And what is it? 3 assists and a goal to his name so far this season in our 6 goals that we've scored. So yeah, he's had a fantastic start. So probably the best bit of business anybody's done in the championship this year.
Yeah. Any other players stand out? I mean, these 3 were the ones that are getting most of the ravings on with the goalkeeper Divin Junho as well. Unreal today.
Yeah, I think if you look at the signings all over, we've only really played Mubama and Thomas. They're the only 2 players that we've brought. You look at the others. Bosniak, he's had a few minutes here and there. Talavirov hasn't played yet. Of course, he's been injured, hasn't come into the team. And Zonzi, not up to fitness yet, hasn't played. Cisse, we only signed at the back end of last week, so he's yet to come into the team and looks another young, promising lad as well. So all credit to Robbins for getting the level of performance he's getting out of what is mostly the same team as last season. The levels have just stepped up dramatically. It's like night and day.
Yeah. Best coach you've had for a while?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, I think he's old school Robbins, isn't he? He's been around long enough. And I've always been nervous around, especially with Polak and Schumacher. Whilst I do believe they'll have good careers eventually at some point, the amount of problems that are at our club above the playing level is massive with that. But we've talked to it to death that we think the club perhaps isn't being as run as well as it should do. And Robbins has just come in, used that experience, and just seem to work wonders with the squad, which is what you need. Keep all the noise from everywhere else away. Work with the squad you've got, and actually make the players you've got better, which nobody's done except for Robbins. So, yeah, long may it continue again. It's all good news at the minute.
Absolutely right. Okay, let's leave Sheffield Wednesday game alone for a second. Then we move into the move into Southampton then next weekend. This is the first big test, I suppose. Can you do it on the south coast on a bright Saturday afternoon? We'll find out. What do you make of Southampton? And would you take a point from this game?
I'd say, given the start that we've had, you'd take a point there, wouldn't you? I think you look at the 2 games they've had. They scored 2 late goals, didn't they, against Wrexham in the first game to win that, which 2 late goals can hide a lot. Even though they got the 3 points, was it a great performance? I'm not so sure. When I watched the game, they didn't really stand out to me as perhaps league winners that many have been calling them. And then the game, did they end up drawing yesterday? Today, didn't they? They played. They drew this afternoon. Drew with Ipswich, which again, 2 of the teams you'd expect to be at the top end of the table. Probably, I didn't see the game, so didn't see how they got on. But yeah, I'll take a point away there next week. I think the 3 games that we've got coming up will kind of set the precedence of our season. 3 tough games: Southampton away, and then we've got 2 massive home games in West Brom and Birmingham. If you can get 5 points, and I might be pushing that a bit because I'm saying we're not going to lose a game. Even if you can get 4 points from those 3 games, I'd be quite happy.
Okay. All right. Let's switch tack then and look at the players which have left the Bet365 this summer, and are we going to miss any of them? First off, the ones that have commanded fees, Wouterberger and Sidibe. Do you think the club, first of all, because of the fee that we've been told, are those fees about right for their level and where they're at, or do you think we could have commanded higher?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I'm of the opinion, and that probably this isn't a very popular opinion, that Berger Woot's the best player in our Stoke squad of a very, very poor Stoke squad over the last few years. So I think if you're looking at other players, the lad who's just gone to Wrexham as an example, 10 million, supposed to be 7.5 million up front, isn't it? With add-ons up to 10 million, that between kind of 4 and 6 million is probably about right for Wouter Berger. It's a shame to lose him, but with the financial situation you find yourself in at the club, you've got to sell players. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And so also DBT again, you're commanding a fee. Of course, he's homegrown, so the fee that we get for him is even better because, of course, it's worth double in the financial records. But he's only played a handful of games since he's come in. So again, you don't want to be selling off academy graduates, but to get a fee of that magnitude for somebody who played a handful of games last season, again, you'll take it. So yeah. And if that's funded that, this season, the players that we've brought in, then I'm all for it.
Absolutely, yeah. Any other name? I mean, we've got a whole list of names: Lyndon Gooch, John Thompson, who's gone to Preston, of course, Niall Ennis, Tezgal is now at Crewe. Simpkin, who we mentioned. Are there any on there you thought could have done a job this season?
I think Lowe is the obvious name that jumps out, given the start he had for Walsall last year. But I think when he came back, he still didn't look ready for this level. So I was glad to see him go back out to League One. Same with Simpkin. Again, there's a lot of promise there with Simpkin. So him going out on loan. The only other one out of those that I've probably kept hold of was Thompson, because he's just a bit of a utility player, isn't he? He was one of those players you could just fit in a hole anywhere. He would play, centre back, right back, centre midfield. He'd go anywhere the manager wanted him to play. And there's probably, handy players to have at this level. But again, is he somebody that's going to be in the starting 11 every week? No. So I don't think he makes us any better. He's just somebody who'd be a safe pair of hands to have in and around the squad. The rest, the Gooch again, aging, not the player he was, and a couple of the others there. So.
Okay. All right. So the club have done well in your eyes generally then in getting rid of lots of dead wood and players who didn't want to be here.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think there's, by the sounds of it, there's still a little bit of business to do as well at the back end. We're still hearing one or two players can go out. Manouf, his name keeps getting mentioned with a move, and I know he's coming for a bit of stick. Whether the couple of goals yesterday, albeit I don't know how that second goal of his went in. It seemed to be the easiest chance of the afternoon, and he still scuffed it and somehow scored. But whether he goes or not, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, then. Finally, this week we're talking, of course, about the shirt that's divided lots of opinion and Stoke City circles. So we'll do the away shirt next week. But in terms of a home shirt, so when I look at this, I absolutely hated it at first, and I looked at it and thought, can't believe that someone has been paid to come up with a design like this. But then, when I've seen you play, when I saw you in the first game of the season, it looked really good. I don't know whether you just need grass behind it or you need it as a collective for it to look good, but there's something visually awful about it when you look at it like this. But what's your take on it?
Yeah, I've exactly the same opinion. I despised it at first, and kind of it got leaked really, really early in the summer, and I was just hoping and praying that it wasn't going to be the week top. But yeah, it works so weirdly. I would argue, with the exception of this, because this is a thing of beauty, but our third kit as well. I despise the third kit, and when we saw us wearing it yesterday, I actually thought, it looks nice when it's on the players. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, and you do have to actually see the shirts up close and personal, don't you, as well? Sometimes you have to go into the club shop and take a look at them. But yeah, it's definitely grown on me, I must admit. And if we stay at the top of the table, it'll grow on me even more. So
this is it. Yeah, who cares if the stripes are wavy or not? Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's red and white stripes.
Yeah,
how much can you do with red and white stripes?
Yeah, someone called this the wokest shirt you've ever had, and I was like, how can a stripe be woke? I mean, come on, where do we go? Right. Thanks
Yeah.
very much, Adam, for joining us this week. The whole team, of course, are on holiday, or most of the team are on holiday, so we'll have them all back, hopefully, with no moaning and negative to do. So if you just come across the channel, we'll have Carl, we'll have Liam and Ryan all back over the coming weeks as well. Thanks, Adam, for going solo with us this week. Great to have you. Great to grab your thoughts. And good luck, of course, this weekend. As you travel down to the south coast with the Potters Army. We'll see you in 7 days' time to review it all again. Thank you very much for watching.
Cheers.